we'll go on to then our final segment being the Green Bay Packers, which were going to be our segment, but then obviously we had some breaking news. And I mean, LaFleur finished. Does it feel that way, Adam? He's gone in for a meeting today. Again.
What the hell? What was that?
Adam,
LaFleur finished.
Before Adam starts, can I just, the only thing I need to pose to Adam on this topic is, why was it coming out before kickoff that he was going to get a new contract? Ian Rappaport was like,
it's suspectified that he is, but we don't know that just yet. He's gone for a conversation today, apparently.
Well, the whole thing through Schefter and Rappaport has been sodding weird, ever since the game. And like yesterday, it was the Packers are leaning towards possibly renewing or extending LaFleur's contract. It's like they ain't got a clue, have they? Is basically what it is, and they're just like they've just opened it on every level of what could happen. Look, personally, from my point of view, I don't think they should get rid of him. I think that you only get rid of a coach if you feel like there is someone better to bring in, and I don't think there is. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a massive Matt LaFleur fan or that he should be given a really long-term contract, because I don't believe he should be. I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. And I think really just to make sure that you're not going to end up having this constant narrative throughout the whole of next season of, oh, is he playing for his job? Is he playing for his job? I think the way forward is probably to try and sign him to extend it for another year or two at tops. I don't think he's going to get paid the big money that some of these coaches are getting paid. And already Rich Bisaccia's gone, which was kind of like his guy at special teams, and it's just not worked. So I think the organisation are kind of, it wouldn't shock me if they've kind of gone, look, we would like you to stay, but we need to make these changes. And I think keeping him is the way forward. I do think it is a very different situation compared to what the Tomlin one was. So that's why I speak differently on this one. I don't think, look at the candidates that you could have, I don't think John Harbaugh works as a Green Bay Packers coach. It doesn't make a lot of sense for what they are. He also hasn't got the Ravens over the top. So why would we bring him in to replace LaFleur? It doesn't make that much sense. And the only person that I could really sort of go, okay, maybe possibly there's a chance that you could take them over the top now, because they're in win now mode. So it's like the only person I could think of who could possibly do it is Kevin Stefanski, just because he has been in Cleveland with no quarterback, and yet he's managed to get that team in the playoffs over certain seasons. And you do sort of think to yourself, maybe he could, but there's no sort of definitive answer on that. So it kind of feels a little bit like stick with him and kind of hope that something changes, and that he sort of maybe there's an element of play calling changes. Maybe there's he I don't know, he does certain different things. I don't know. It's bizarre that they are building these leads and just throwing them away, and that's what is the problem. So it kind of feels like you can't really put your finger on what the problem is.
Yeah, Sky, I don't know if you agree with me or something. I think he's getting a really unfair shake at this. I think I do not understand why the spotlight is on him, and the hot seat is where he's at the minute, with some people and some fans saying he needs to go, and others like Adam saying that I think he should stay, and maybe, just for the time being. He's been there since 2019. He's been to the playoffs 6 or 7 years. He's been to the NFC Championship twice. Like, he's done fantastically well, I think, at the Green Bay Packers. Yes, he had Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was an MVP twice under him. You've had a fantastic quarterback heritage in terms of you went from Brett Favre straight into Aaron Rodgers. You've gone into Jordan Love, who is not Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, but he's still a very good quarterback, and he's done well with him. And I find this very strange, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough because even Rich Eisen was saying on his show, I've had the same experience. Like, even when I was in Green Bay in September, people were like, oh, yeah, even when Parsons come through, yeah, but, is LaFleur the guy to get it done? I think when you are coaching a team where there's not much else going on in the area, has a lot of history as well.
No owner.
Yeah, exactly. So the fans get more input. Very, very good point. It's a case of you're wanting to get over the hump again, and we've seen that Jordan Love is capable. The Packers have lucked out. Well, luck is not the right, but 3 times now, right? Favre, Rodgers, Love. So again, no down years. But the 2 NFC title games that they were in, they lost pretty bad in both. The scoreline wise might not show it, but the Niners and the Bucks games, Packers weren't in it. And I think when you're in win now mode, this is where maybe sometimes fans get a bit greedy to the point of like, well, if we get back there before, like you said, you've had one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it leading the way. Now you might have a great defense. Is he the guy to get you over the hump? The thing that's actually played against him is getting into the playoffs and blowing the lead. If you didn't get into the playoffs, then you could easily blame it on, well, the guy that we traded for, Parsons, who was unbelievable, was injured. Tucker Kraft emerging as probably a top 5 tight end in the league, does his ACL, and a very talented, but again, banged up wide receiver core. We've seen injuries on that as well. So
just to sort of put the spanner in the works on this, we're seeing the same thing in San Francisco, though, aren't we? And it seems to be going okay. And it's sort of incredibly parallel situations considering they're coaches that know each other very well.
It is. That's the perfect point as well. And this is where the Packers fans will be like, oh, we can, if we get someone else, we can get in. But I agree with Adam. I don't think John Harbaugh probably is the guy for. He's better suited for someone like the Giants. I think the Packers almost have to go a different direction, and maybe it's Stefanski or someone would be it. But if I'm looking at it objectively, I think with the success that you said, the body of work, fans are always going to have their opinions. With the body of work that's happened so far, let him have, touch wood for Packers fans, a healthy season with this team and see where they get to. If it happens next year and they're not as banged up, you might have, not has as many significant injuries, then that's a different conversation because there's a lot of young guys on that roster. So it's not like a year is going to change too much long term. They're still in a very good place, I think, with the pieces that are there.
Do you think that's not talked about enough then, Adam, with the Packers fans? Is, we've been pretty beat up this year. We've had Malik Willis starting. Our prize bullfighter in Micah Parsons was injured half the year. Like, you said it yourself, we're no way going to win in the playoffs. We're too beat up.
Yeah, I think it has kind of just been swept under the carpet, and it's been swept under the carpet because we have put ourselves in winning positions. I think this is what the issue is like it goes to show that despite all the injuries, they are a very good team and that they should be able to deal with this. And so I think it kind of almost becomes, rather than they're injured and therefore that means that's why they can't win. It almost becomes, why is there this sort of the ability to put yourself in a winning position, but then there's that sort of soft underbelly where you just kind of like you let it go. And why does that happen? And why does that keep happening as well? That's the other thing. It's like, it happens once, it can just be a coincidence, can't it? But if it keeps happening over and over again, you do have to start questioning, is there an issue here? And I think a lot of people are probably going, well, that's the head coach then, isn't it? So I can understand why people are frustrated with him. I personally feel that the GM Brian Gutekunst has, some of the draft picks that have been brought in, the inability to, some of the sort of free agents, some have been great. I mean, Josh Jacobs, great. Xavier McKinney, great. Nate Hobbs last year from the Raiders, not really done much and didn't really do a lot. Some of the draft picks, I mean, Matthew Golden barely played at all. And then he turned up and played against the Bears and did well on Saturday night. But it's just that thing where it's a little bit like, you've made such this big thing about drafting a wide receiver in Green Bay for the first time in forever. And it's like, yeah, but did we really actually need to do that? Because you've basically not played him until the last couple of games. So it does feel a little bit like, well, that was a waste. You could have gone and got a really good, run defender. Because as soon as Devonta Wyatt went down injured, the run defense just disappeared. And it's like, as soon as Michael Parsons got injured, the pass rush disappeared. It's like, you do need to have depth as well. And so I feel like that's you can't blame Matt LaFleur for that. He's clearly not picking the guys, but I think he's getting a bit of an unfair rap by Packers fans, and actually it might just be the fact that they're just not that keen on him, and they think that they'd rather have someone else. I think it's that they want another fat Mike. That's what it is. We've had McCarthy, we've had Holmgren. We need another fat Mike.
I was going to say, Adam, but this same thing did happen with McCarthy as well, though.
What's the name? You know what we could do? We could get McDaniels and just feed him up. Yeah,
give him all the cheese curds.
Lock him in a McDonald's and feed him cheeseburgers.
McDaniel was definitely dairy intolerant, man. Definitely.
Yeah. But it's a good point about the Mike McCarthy thing in and amongst the humor of it, because I feel like even after you guys, there was 2010, the Super Bowl, I think we were, that win. There was, for years, it was Mike McCarthy's not good enough. We've got Aaron Rodgers. We should be going all the way. And this is what I mean. Again, a franchise that has been, it's rich coming from me. We only had 2 or 3 down years and now back in the playoffs, right? So it's actually been tough times being a Patriots fan, but the Packers, again, to have 3 franchise quarterbacks in a row, spanning over a 33-year period, it's always going to be question marks on the coach because you're always just there, this close. And I think Packers are also in a unique situation because Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers are 2 of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time, but both only have 1 ring to show for it. I think there's a genuine frustration that's just gone through, it's been handed over is what I'm getting at. It's generational frustration.
I do also think there is an element of be careful what you wish for as well, because I think that LaFleur, obviously, you can come out and go, he had Aaron Rodgers there, and you can come out and say that Jordan Love is good and stuff like that, but he's still having to coach the team, and he's still got them to the playoffs through the period that he's been there for. He's clearly not a bad head coach, and that as soon, if they got rid of him, that there would be teams queuing up. That there really would be, and yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. And it's like there would be loads of teams that would be happy to take him on, and it just goes to show that if you're in that sort of position, I think getting rid of him is a mistake, and I don't think they want to go down the route that the Browns have gone down, because, to be honest, if you've got a head coach that you are letting go, and everyone's going, actually, do you know what? We're quite like Kevin Stefanski as our head coach. I mean, I'm saying it, if they got rid of LaFleur, I would like Kevin Stefanski. I think he's the one that possibly could. If you're saying that for a team like Green Bay, you know damn well that half the league are saying that, if not more. And so, why get rid of him?
One of the guys I mentioned, Fred, one of the guys I know, the Packers fan out in the US, said to me, did you know that Matt LaFleur was on the Falcons staff when the 28-3 game? And I said, I didn't. And he was saying, even stuff like that starting to come up now. But maybe that's where the play calling thing, which Adam started all of this with, is he is a good coach. We circle back again with Sirianni. I think quite clearly, when you've watched the NFL for years, we know who the actual good head coaching caliber people are. And Matt LaFleur, whether it's the Packers or not, I imagine even the Falcons tomorrow, if he was fired, mate, do you want to come back? We've got a bunch of weapons similar to what you've got in Green Bay. You've developed a quarterback in Jordan Love. I think Adam is again right there. I know he had Aaron Rodgers for those years, but he is the guy who has, had to nurture that that
Yeah.
development of Jordan Love. So yeah, I think one more year. Like, I think if it's the same, then all right, he's not the trainer or the physio, but sometimes you do maybe just need to go, right, it's cursed or something. We'd start over. But one more season won't hurt the Packers. So I think they'll be fine if they keep him for now.